go through the Pledge of Allegiance, or
Nope.
What's the protocol?
It's just the discussion now.
Okay. Open for discussion. Microphone's on?
Yes, it's still recorded and live streamed. So,
This is an actual park commission meeting then, or is it just?
no,
There's a work session.
it has to be recorded because there's a quorum here.
Okay.
So, we don't have the Zoom going, but we have the live stream and the recording.
So where do we start?
So this, what's been sent out is, this is the, I guess, commission ordinance or whatever as it sits today, correct? Or is this amended from what's on the books?
That's as it sits today.
Okay,
I
cool.
cut and paste from the website.
Sure.
That's what we found from, and then the other examples are from like 2007, 2009.
Yeah, some older ones, but yeah, I
But
like
yeah,
that.
at least gives you an idea
Totally.
of what was done in the past. So really, I mean, this is all you. Whatever you guys want to do.
So last meeting, Marty, I asked you a question about a group coming in helping us decide how the park should be run. The example you had given was the EDA. They had a consultant come in and discuss their charter and put things together. Does that ring a bell?
No.
No?
No.
Still left field?
Well, yeah, I don't.
Okay. I had thought there was a third party that came in, sat down with them, and they developed their kind of rules.
I don't know
regulations.
anything much about the EDA, so
Okay.
I don't know what they've done to bring that together. I mean, if that's something that you want to do, then we can certainly look into that. I don't know. Do you know if anything the EDA brought in a third party?
I could be wrong.
It was a
but
while
so-
ago.
Right.
We got the forms like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Well, Julie had brought it up in
It
one of
might-
our meetings.
it might have
in
been
the
Julie,
past.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were starting with nothing though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that something that we need?
I don't. It'd be your request. If that's something that you feel like you need, if after tonight's meeting, to just pull it all together into some kind of a format, or to address some issues that we missed, I'm sure that we can find somebody, probably somebody at the League of Minnesota Cities or somebody like that would be able to do that.
Is that what we want to spend our money on?
Well, that was my next question.
I would think the League of Minnesota Cities have a lot of free services like that. I think we got something tomorrow night that's a free service from them, I believe.
I think so.
I think so. They have a lot of resources, so I mean, even if they do have something, I don't think it would be prohibitively expensive if that's sort of the route that you want to take.
Another way to look at it is if you looked at what Carrie and Dave contributed, if you go, yes, that's exactly what we were thinking, and we just need to translate it into Dayton terms, then that's a starting point too. It just,
Yeah, we just need a starting point, really.
yeah.
Okay.
And then we can pull it together and have something that we can present to the council for them to accept as your charter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this. The expectations from both sides, I thought that was great. As it is, personally.
It was brought up about spending money. Does the park commission actually have like an operating budget? Like, not necessarily office supplies, but consultant services would fall underneath there, or some sort of administrative budget?
I think that would generally come. We don't have any budget that way.
Okay.
A lot of the project budgeting is done through the Parks Fund. So all the projects that you oversee or recommend, like the trails and that, will be funded from those. If we need an operating budget for EDA, I'm sure, the Parks Commission, sorry, I'm sure that we could figure that out as well. I don't know what that funding would look like, what you're looking for funding. If it's like having a consultant come in and do this stuff, then I'm sure that we can find somewhere to fund that from.
Are we talking about having a budget of knowing how much money is available for us to spend and then giving input on what we want to have it spent on? Is that what we're talking about?
I think it's an operational budget for the Park
Yeah.
Commission more than anything. I think that's what we're saying,
Yeah.
not for park projects,
Right.
but just for operating this commission.
Right.
Oh, just for operating, okay.
I wouldn't be adversely, I wouldn't mind having a budget. I'd like to know what we're saving up for future parks. We have tried to work with CDAA. They want us to put together some additional fields. In the past, way back when, the city council would horse trade our money away. The park commission would, or the parks would have dedicated funding, but then a developer would come in and say, well, that's gonna cost us so many, well, all right, we'll just wipe out the,
To your point,
park
the park
commission.
dedication and trail fees can only be used for parks and trails. They can't be moved into a roads fund or anywhere like that. They are dedicated to that. That's the whole purpose of those. So
Right.
whatever's in our park dedication fund balance, that is what we've got to use on parks, and project it. And I think they project a little bit out for what's coming up the next year, but it's generally, the previous year's balance is what we're working from. And that's what those numbers go into the CIP as well.
And Doug, I checked with Zach, so as of this morning, there's about $2 million in the Parks Fund and $2.3 million in the Trails Fund. And all of that is funded by new homes being built.
So in other words, we have over $4 million that we're just sitting on and not spending right now.
And there's still some...
And is that smart is the question we should be asking ourselves, to watch labor costs and material costs climb and not get as much bang for a buck by delaying stuff.
But
need a good plan.
here's the deal. We still have 2022 park improvements budget that still has to be paid for. That hasn't all been completed out. This year is a planning year, so there will be some expenditures on planning and concepts and that kind of stuff, engineering, bid documents and all that good stuff for projects next year. I don't think that we need to spend $4.3 million.
No,
straight out.
I'm not saying that, but letting it grow and not having plans for it in the future, I don't think is wise. I think we need to, if we need to set aside money for a certain park that we know it's coming up in 4 or 5 years, that's fine. Or a certain development happening over at Stevens, that's fine.
Yep.
But to prolong it and not spend the money for no good reason and then let that cost climb.
I don't think that that's what we've been prone to doing. I think we've spent a lot of money developing a lot of parks recently. I mean, we've done 2 phases of Stevens. We did Rivers Bend Park. We've done Sundance. We've done, I can't even remember them all now. Haven Hills, all those things there, Donahue Dells. So there's a lot of expenditure, and it's not.
Right.
It's as we get the funding in that we use it to spend it out. It's not like we're sitting on the money just for sitting on its state. It's there, and we use it and trying to be, use it in the best way possible.
Plus the 150 that we're putting in every year for a new complex.
Yeah,
That will grow.
Yeah, that will grow. So there's money being set aside for the community playfield.
that's the one that bothers me the most, I think, is the future athletic, well,
Yeah.
the
And
future,
Staff is really
Park.
aware of that, and I'm working with Zach. We've talked with a few possible scenarios for development. I can't say anything more about that at the moment because it's not out there just yet, but we have been, even when Tina was here, we've been talking with landowners and stuff, trying to get some buy-in. Either things changed, where family wanted to use the land for something different, or the price was too high, or the land wasn't usable for what we needed. So I know we've done at least 4 or 5 different looks at different plots of land for community parks, but none of them are panned out just yet. So it's not for lack of trying.
And Zach and I
we're-
talk
we're
about it
not-
every week when we meet.
Yeah, and I'm concerned about us losing the opportunities at some point where we won't have a place to go. And that's not gonna, be very, it's not gonna look good for what people are gonna want in the future.
Yeah, and
You know.
staff have
No.
exactly the same.
You just gotta look at what the other cities have done and where they've found places and what they've had to do ahead of time to get them.
Yeah.
We're just starting. I mean, there's some towns like Maple Grove, they started their program back in the 50s. And this is where they are now. So we've got a long, long way to go.
They were fortunate to have a couple big gravel pits to condemn,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
So,
don't know.
I mean, it's
I
a
don't think
situation
that's
that's
true,
ongoing, and we're trying to remedy it. Like I say, there's a couple of opportunities out there
Yeah.
at the moment, but land prices are fluctuating, and I don't think that we want to spend $9 million on bare land at the moment. So
yeah, I understand that.
that's
$9
one of the-
million. I've got some property for
I
that.
know you do, Dave. We nearly had it once.
Never knocked on my door.
Well, Dave.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if we don't do it, eventually, I mean, it'll be gone, so.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at CDAA, that would be Champlin and Dayton. They would prefer having a park centrally located, not on the Rogers border.
And that's the area that we're looking at.
in District 11. So that's not too much to ask.
Thanks, Doug. Now, we're obviously we're very aware of all that stuff. We have had numerous conversations with CDAA, and we're aware of their needs. They're aware that we're trying. They do have some funding available to us, but it's a substantial investment, and it's going to be a long time before those things get developed out to what they need to be. But securing the land is going to be the first part of the project.
That is the critical element right now.
Absolutely. I don't disagree.
So are we wanting to write or rewrite a mission statement? Anybody can talk here.
Yeah.
I just think we need to go through and I think we have a good base. I just think it needs to be edited because we don't use the role of a secretary. So we either need to choose to start using a role or we need to wipe it out. We just need to look at if you want to have term limits or not. And then we need to talk about how much we want to be involved in the recreation program. I think those are kind of like the main things I see.
And if we want to be involved in any city events, like Heritage Days or anything like that, too.
Yeah.
What was that, Chad?
And if we want to be involved in anything like Heritage Days or any city events, we are doing some stuff with Movies in the Park, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we're sponsoring that. And we have some events at the community center for like seniors and stuff too. Is that part of the parks, or what is that a part of then?
It's currently a part of nothing.
Okay.
That's part of the discussion is what do you guys want to take on? How much input do you want to have? Do you want to stay just the Parks Commission or do you want to become the Park and Recreation Commission? I don't
Well, who would that be under right now
I don't know
then?
how that goes, but
Yeah, does us becoming a Park and Recreation Commission imply like that what we have going on now would become something we would have input in, and then maybe we would propose, let's do some more things. Let's do a thing, a youth softball, or I don't know, a random thing. Is that what that would mean?
I think so.
Sure.
I would have
Okay.
to I've never started a commission before.
I
so-
think this is. I would see this transition into a Parks and Recreation Commission. I think that we still got to get our heads around, from a staff level, what the Parks and Recreation thing looks like. I know Teresa's been here for a while, but she's been working on other things, and COVID thing happened, and took 2 years out of that program. So I think as that comes alive, I think this is going to be part of that. We need to have the two things running together.
Because then there'd be a budget for that, I would imagine.
Yeah,
It'd be
there will
different
be.
than an operational budget that pays for pens and pencils, and also different than park dedication, which is for parks.
I think the park dedication would still be part of it, because we'd still be looking at, like you're looking at parks at the moment, so that would still be part of this park planning.
Oh, I think that would
Right.
be part of it. I'm
Yeah.
saying, but if we're establishing more of a recreation program,
Yeah,
or
there'll be-
formalizing it, we'd probably want to have a budget discrete.
There'll be some other recreational budget, because
Right.
Teresa already has a
Right.
recreation budget, so we
Yep.
would probably incorporate that
Cool.
one way or another.
That makes sense.
It would be my desire to have a Park and Rec Commission, but also I would like to see us have authority and a budget that is controlled by the Park and Rec Commission rather than the city council. What I find is happening now is the city council is going off and doing whatever they do. And oh, by the way, we'll let the park commission know a little bit later, but that's the attitude. The park commission, I don't know, that this council doesn't seem to be too interested in going down the path of letting everybody know what the team effort is all about.
Okay. Well, firstly, you can't have a budget that's not approved expenditures through, it has to be approved by the council. So you're not going to have that situation where you allocate funds to a project without getting it approved through the council. So that's why that's in place. I'm not sure what you're driving at there, Doug, but I feel like the council's been pretty supportive of all the projects that we have done. I don't think that they've pushed back on any of the recent parks that we've done. Especially they've been driving at LC Stevens to get that done. That's been a big push on them, and they brought it up on the CIP to make that happen. So I'm not sure what you're saying there about, oh, by the way, we'll tell the Park Commission. I think that recent years, at least since I've been involved with this, everything comes through you that goes to the council. It's not the other way around.
Okay?
That's the way I see it anyway, Doug.
It's the same way it is with the planning commission too. They take a look at it and they give their recommendation to council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should come through y'all before it comes to us, ideally. And just like the water trails did.
Yeah.
It was here, and the next council meeting, it was at the council meeting, so you all looked at it and approved it first.
And I think that was, with a lot of the park planning stuff with Paul Kangas, it comes to you to take a look at ahead of anything else.
That's fine, and that's great, and I appreciate that. Eventually, as the Park and Rec Department gets larger, I think that we will eventually need our own funding and our own authority, rather than letting the mayor make all those decisions.
I don't think you can expend taxpayer dollars without it being approved by the council.
Yeah, the council
We're only
tends to-
advisory,
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
and that's how most commissions
No. Back up.
Okay.
It would be my goal to eventually have a Park and Rec Department that's separate from the city council. Other communities do it. There's no reason why we can't do it eventually.
How's that? How do they fund that then?
You mean like the Minneapolis Park Board?
Yes, that's how the Minneapolis Park Board runs. They get a budget,
Is that-
they have so much they can spend every
I
year,
don't know if that's these things.
and they make decisions on where that money is being spent. the council does have some influence on that, but they still do the day-to-day, where it's going to be spent and how they're going to budget things. Otherwise, for like the city of Minneapolis, that'd be a lot for the council to have to take care of. When it gets big enough like that. Now, I don't know what Champlin is doing or Anoka or anybody else is doing, but, as things get larger. I'm not saying and that we would have to go to the scope that Minneapolis goes.
Yeah, for sure.
But it would be a good idea to be open to maybe going towards that so much so that the nitty-gritty stuff doesn't get dumped on the council, because they would have,
So are you talking day-to-day operations? Kind of
No,
like
not so much that as that, just maybe, I'm trying to find exactly what I'm
Like us
thinking here.
planning an event in the park and okaying it and getting it set up and
Getting it-
either
yeah.
saying, yes, it will have popcorn or hush puppies and we're going to fund it or not? Something that
Go ahead
basic?
for like funding for Heritage Days. That would be the one thing. Unless we're going to have an outside organization like Lions take it over and the city not have anything to do with it, that type of thing. That's a decision that would have to be made. What does the city want to have as sources of entertainment and recreation for the city, the residents? Where's the demand and who's going to help facilitate that? Is it going to be the Park and Rec or is it going to be the city council?
And I think that would. Do you want to?
That goes through the city today, doesn't it? Like when you
Yeah.
came up with the movie and the park ideas, you just
Yeah.
brought it to your
So,
whatever and they approved it and on.
yeah, I
upward.
don't get individual events approved.
Right.
Heritage Day is kind of its own special
Yep.
little thing. And that was a whole different scenario, because that wasn't originally a city event. So that had its own
It's an edge
thing.
case, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Currently.
I usually put together an idea, a plan, a sketch out of what I want to do with things. And then I propose a budget for it. And then the budget gets approved by council. And then I go forth with what I've planned and I make adjustments as I go. So if movie in the park blows up in my face, I go a different route. Kind of like last year, I had next to nobody show up to the movies in the park. So even though I budgeted for it, because I've already turned in my budget for 2024, no, 20, what year is it?
2020.
23.
Just planning ahead.
We're getting there. We
Planning ahead.
Steady.
I already had the budget done for 2023 before
Yeah.
I knew that the movies in 2022 were going to fail, is what I was trying to get around to. So now I have money to use for movies, but movies didn't go the way I thought they were going to. So now I have to make an adjustment. Yeah, I don't know. Minneapolis Park and Rec Board are really their own special beast. First
Right.
off, they're ginormous. And second, they've been around since the 1850s. So they kind of evolved in their own way and what worked for them. I think we have a very long way, like lifetimes beyond what we're going to be here for before we can get to that point. So I think the point of tonight is just to decide what you all want to focus on and kind of put together a plan, put it in writing, and then start going forth and use this year to plan what we want to see happen in the next 2 to 5 years or whatnot. And if you want to focus on only parks and trails, cool. If you want to start incorporating what that would look like to be a part of the recreation part, cool. Let's talk about it. But we can't bring anything to the council if you guys don't know what you want. So I can't make recommendations or suggest trails or anything if we come to meetings and like, well, I don't know. Like, that sounds good. Here's a list of things we want to get done eventually. That's the part I think is getting lost in translation, and it's not necessarily anything bad or in fault. This is just kind of the purpose of, okay, let's make this plan, let's do it. Because I'm certainly motivated. I love parks, I love rec, it's my life. So, I'm here, use me.
So let me just conclude this element.
I'm very good at rambling, sorry.
There are other communities, not the huge Park and Rec Department of Minneapolis. But an example would be Maple Grove. They've got their own budget for their Park and Rec Department. They have their own chairman, who is an employee. And they create all the activities and let the city council worry about sewer rates and all the other minutia that they play around with. I would like to see that eventually be created here in Dayton. End of conversation. Let's talk about,
Let's define that and make a plan for years down the road to get that direction like you speak. And she said it's on us to plan what we want to do, and if that's a direction we want to go as a whole, we're here to lay the groundwork.
when do you think we're ready for it, though? That's the issue.
It's not
I-
defined.
Excuse
So,
me.
There's nothing wrong with forward planning.
Right.
So
If we don't put the plan on while we're on the board, it might just never get put down.
Yeah.
right.
Even if it's not tomorrow, we have a fully separate entity. You know, that's obviously not going to happen. But
No, but we got to be open to
I
thinking
like the
about it.
idea of writing it down or formalizing it or figuring out if we even agree on it.
And then I think we probably have to figure out, you know, if we can use general funding for that, or how that all works as well. I'm sure there's going to be some.
It's a Zach question.
Right.
Yeah.
You're looking at me, that's a Zach question.
Yeah, I know, but I was just looking for you some confirmation there. If I was going down the right route.
It's going to take years for that to happen, but
Yeah.
I think it's at
But
least,
if it's a goal, I think that we should explore it and keep it in the document at least, if that's what you want to do.
great.
Right, yeah, much like my goal is to have a full recreation department here and not just myself. It gets a little lonely sometimes. So I'm putting together that groundwork to see what that looks like and how long that might take. And I might think it takes 5 years, and in reality, it might take 10 or 15. I don't know, all kind of depends on the city and the residents and everything.
So where do you think that department should be under? The Park Commission, or it should be under the council?
I think it goes council, commission, rec department,
Okay.
historically, and I think
Well, that's-
in
yeah.
most
That's-
cities,
That's
the
where
way it
everything
is.
else is. So yes, overarching is the council. They have all the say, and then there's the commissions and then staff underneath
Right.
that.
Yeah, so the commission takes care of all the minutia that the rec department brings to them, or park department, or what have you. And then they tell the council, here's these things that we want to spend this money on, yes or no. And they have the final say, as far as I understand.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Well,
the deal.
So-
and that's where I differ from it. I think a Park and Rec Department ought to have autonomy and be separate from what the council's doing.
Which would, then would have to be an elected position almost.
Maybe so, and that's fine, but I'm just throwing it out there that eventually,
Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
Rather than-
We probably need to talk to some of those cities that actually do it, see how they really do it, what
what the
order they do it
benefits are
in.
and
Like,
the
if that's what you really want, you need to
struggles.
kind of,
And if they're really city employees as such with her,
yeah.
you know, maybe that's how it gets developed. But if you're talking the council saying, all right, Parks Rec Commission, here's $50,000 to blow on community events, work with the recreation department, and plan and schedule this stuff, we won't stand in your way. Or
I
maybe
don't
more
know
like
if that's the way it
15,000,
works,
I
but-
guess, I don't know, but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it needs it could use some additional research. So what do we do? Is that an item that we put down on a piece of paper now, or we open up to the next subject?
I'd like to lay out a plan to get there.
Yeah,
It's an interesting idea.
and I think maybe you want to allocate somebody to do that research work rather than just say, let's do something, let's have an action item with it and see who wants to do that, or if you want staff to do that, or what you want to handle that. Because I think a lot of things get said here and then they don't get followed through, so I think that we need to have that guidance.
Question on that,
Yes, sir.
relating to the budget thing. It says in the old stuff that we're only paid for meetings attend. If somebody's going to take on this extra time and the extra hours, would they get reimbursed for legitimate time spent on researching that and bringing it back to the group?
That is a great question.
Thank
I will
you.
make a note.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works.
Just trying to be fair with
No,
people's
yeah.
busy
Great
time
question,
and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Most of the commissions that I am aware of, this is the only one that has a paid position. Everything else is voluntary.
And not everybody collects it on the commission.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so,
So whatever,
yeah.
I don't,
So other than Dave and Kerry bringing stuff together, did anybody else have any thoughts of what they would like included
I
in
would
the
just
documents?
Echo what Carrie said, nix the minutes portion if we're not going to do that. I like the idea of keeping a parks report and
Yeah.
doing something like that as opposed to getting rid of it. I think we should just start doing it again.
Are
Well,
you
you're talking
keeping
about the annual
minutes?
report.
The annual report, yep,
It's,
correct.
we have a service that does it. So
Okay.
they watch the videos
And then
and
they
they send it to Amy and Amy sends it to me.
also the minutes are being taken.
Yeah.
Yes, yep.
Okay, well then, yeah, we don't
Right,
need
that's
a,
why
we don't need a secretary.
Doesn't need to be
Yeah,
a
we
role
just
that one
don't
of
have
us.
a
No,
pretends
I
that
agree
we
with you
have to
there,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why.
It would just be if you wanted a secretary in order to be the person who turns in the goals and the report to city council. Otherwise, we have to make sure that every year we assign that to somebody. Otherwise, it won't get done.
And I
So
think-
that would be the one thing, to have a secretary
Yeah.
who doesn't take meeting minutes. They would still just be in charge of that.
I think that at some stage, I think that the goals and stuff need to have a Parks Commission, a commission representative talk to the council. I think that either that or have a joint meeting with Parks and Council like we've done in the past to discuss those. Because I think it's important that if we have goals that we are aligned with the council and they're buying into the goals that you guys
Right.
are putting down. So I think either you do it as a presentation to the council or you have a joint Parks and Council meeting, maybe once or twice a year.
And that's something I brought up at council last meeting, was like to see all the committees do it twice a year, once at the beginning of the year, so you can come in and see, here's everything we achieved last year, and here's what we plan on doing this year, so like January, February, and then one mid-year, which is also budget season, so you can come in and say, here's what we've done so far this year, here's what we plan to get done the rest of the year, and here's what we'd like to get done next year, and here's what it's gonna cost us. You may come in and say, we want $20 million of stuff, we might say, okay, yeah, no, these three things, sure, we can budget for, the rest just we can't fit in the budget this year. But if we have all the committee heads come in mid-year, it allows you the opportunity to do that, which I think is beneficial for you to take more ownership and drive forth the projects you want. Yes, it still needs the council's approval, but I think it gets after more closer to what you're talking about, Doug, which is you have more say over it. Which is also why I brought the budget here today, so you understood kind of how much you had to plan with this year to get things done, and next year as well. So hopefully you're open to that, but that was something I'd like to see all the committees do. I think it'd be helpful for the city. I think it would give you all a lot more ownership of what you're doing, because you're doing a lot of good work.
Yeah, I like that idea.
that sounds good. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, the invites would be good.
I'll bring back some information on whether the communities are doing on the Park and Rec Department and what the structure might be. But it won't be any real large cities. It's try to keep it as small as possible.
Sure, comparable is always.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to compare a city that is going, or is at the same size we're going to be in 5 and 10 years, looking at that. I mean, what are we at for population right now? 8,000, 9,000? We're gaining
Yeah, just half.
500 permits a year, so that's roughly maybe another 1,000 a year. If we continue on this, that'd be one way to judge it.
I think there's some detail on that in the the comprehensive plan as well, population projections.
Yeah.
Projections.
I
That
know
might be a good-
the build-out is estimated at 40,000, is what I've been told several times. when the city is totally built out, like Champlin more or less is right now. I think they have very few acreage available for development.
40,000 people?
That's what I've been told several times for this city. And that may not be correct, it all depends, you know. Throw in a lot of multi-unit housing, and lots of apartments.
And I've heard north of that number
Yeah.
as well, but
Yeah.
I don't know how reliable that source was.
Yeah,
So.
but I've heard that for years, you know.
But I think there should be a build-out number in the comp plan.
Yeah,
I think
it is.
because I know that we use it.
Forecast year 2040, 10,400. I don't think that's right. I'm looking at something
We'll hit that by 25.
Right. Net council estimate by year 2040, 10,000 residents.
Yeah, we're already there.
That's
I
a
think
whole.
we're,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's the comp plan off the website, 2022 it's stated, but
I know we fought for years to get to 5,000. I also remember the year that we went up 300% in
Okay,
building
so
permits.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question about for goals next year? Or for this year? We had our meeting last year about all of the trails. And it was on that big huge map. Was that
Yeah.
map ever found?
Yes.
We got it?
Okay,
It's
nice.
hanging in the back, actually.
Okay.
I did my best to interpret Alex's handwriting. But I can send that out. I didn't want to include it with the work session, but that can be
That could be an
included in the
agenda
next-
item for the next meeting.
Yes.
That would
Yeah,
be great.
Yeah.
it'd be good to see that and
That
see
way
what
we
the
can
priorities
actually
are.
write out the specific goals that we want for this
Mm-hmm.
year.
Yeah.
and if we could see it before then, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, we try and do a better graphic on that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's
That
a
was
bit-
the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to read.
Yeah, it's just a lot of scribble on there at the moment, so
Right,
we'll
totally.
try and do a better graphic so you can read it easily.
It'd be nice to see a graphic that shows existing and then planned, and then maybe even different colors for what years we're planning on doing.
So,
Priorities.
Yeah, priorities, yeah. 'Cause-
so my GIS stuff is coming together and it's exactly like that.
Okay, good.
So it's got the proposed, which is a dotted line, built, and then it's got sidewalk and stuff in there as well. So hopefully I'm going to have that in the next
Say, when can we see it?
Yeah.
next week or
I'll beta
two.
test it.
Yeah, I know. I'll let
Sign
you.
an NDA or
Is
whatever.
there an app for that too?
There will be an app for that. Yes.
ArcGIS.
If you get the,
Yes.
if you get the right information in that GIS, it is so nice to have.
I know. I've been working on it for
Yeah.
2-3 years now, so it's a process.
Um,
But
That was the
but-
biggest tool I had at the university, was
But-
fantastic.
I think that for the process of our next meeting, if we want to move this trail prioritization, I think we can do something with the existing map, and then I think you prioritized, what was it, 5 or 6 different trail segments that you wanted to look at. I think so that if those are still the situation, then we need to try and figure out whether they're viable, what the cost is for those, so then we can get an engineer's estimate on those sections. And then include that dollars, and then we can move those around in the CIP in the trail section. Is what I see as the logical
I
way
believe
of
when we
doing
were
it.
talking with Alex, we did prioritize some.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we're
so-
talking about. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if I recall correctly, like one that comes to mind, I don't even know, there's not an obvious solution. It's just the trail that dead ends on Dayton Road. So it's hard to just put a dollar amount on fixing that when we don't know what a fix is. But
Maybe we-
some of them might be more straightforward and like to pave a thing that's
Well,
not paved.
the one that ends in Champlin and crosses.
There's that,
Yeah.
and then the other side of it, that across from the gas station, where the road just stops going into our neighborhood.
Yeah.
The sidewalk just stops.
Right, that's because that whole area is not developed yet, that corner lot isn't figured out. Yeah, I don't even think it's been sold yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Marty, when you looked at that, did you guys look at where we already have easements?
Yeah, I
That
think
was
there
on
is
there.
some easement
Yeah.
stuff on there. Yeah.
We were talking about it for sure.
Yeah.
Off of Alex's memory mostly.
Yeah.
What direction we wanted to build off the River Road,
Yeah.
if we wanted
Yeah.
to head
Yeah.
east or west, and what we had already acquired.
What was the question again? Excuse me.
Right away. Did it show the right away that we already own on that trail?
Put all that stuff on GIS.
So are we establishing goals for tonight? like the completion of the water trail system, or?
How's it worded? Discussion on Parks Commission charter.
I think we were just going to discuss the charter and what you wanted that to
Okay,
look
that's the
like
main-
and define some roles and stuff, and then a way forward. I think that we need to pull that together first as a starting
Sure.
point and get that to staff. I mean, we can pull it together as a document and then see what that looks like. It's got to be something that we can present to the council as a charter and get them to approve it. So we have to have it approved through those. So you probably going to want to see a second bite of this, and if you feel like we need to have somebody else help us with that process, then you should let us know and we can try and organise that as well.
Okay.
But I think the purpose of tonight was really to focus on the charter, get that into some shape and form, make the amendments and additions that you want, and get those into a document.
Sure. Is this the charter is what we're calling it?
That-
The bits out of the legalese and city ordinances?
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, because there's also the expectations, which I think are great, too.
Is that what Dave sent us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
It
want to
just-
incorporate those in as well?
I put this together, working with a lot of other cities before. I just put this together because it kind of lays out some gray area ideas, just so it's on paper, black and white. Like, your city's going to provide us with the most recent information on stuff. Our responsibility to you is we're coming well read. We've gone through our packets, and we're ready to go. Versus, where was that? And
Yeah.
what am I trying to? Just puts it black and white. This is what the city expects from us, and what we expect from the city.
And I'm really fine with all that stuff. I thought it was real good. I think that maybe you should have some discussion if there's any things you want to take out of there or add or embellish, or I think that would be good to have that discussion now.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah, agreed.
I didn't have anything to
Do we need to
add.
be, like, motioning that we have, like
No, no, we don't have any motions.
I didn't think
It's
so.
only
Yeah, wanna be
Let's get it
sure.
up there. I got a name tag. Let's motion.
Give him the hammer.
So we'll incorporate that into the document
Yeah, I
as
think
well.
That can be incorporated.
And then Kerry's information that she sent, is there any commentary on that?
Is that-
The Mendota or Medina.
Which one was that, Kerry?
Yeah, it was just Medina.
I think it'd be great.
It's-
Yeah.
It's just what they hand out to when they have somebody new, just so they can look at it, kind of get an
It can
overview.
be great to build something like that for us. Just swap out the relevant parts, and
I'm sure that's how this was
I read
created
through it
too.
and I liked it. Some of
Someone
it
else
was-
copied somebody else, cut and paste, that's what everybody does now.
Yeah, pretty similar and laid out to date.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of these documents are passed around the cities anyway, and everybody adopts everybody else's, so it's not a problem.
Could we add an org chart to it?
That'd be great.
If you want an org chart, just
Yeah.
send us the org chart, and we will do that.
Charts, maps, graphs, all that.
A temporary link for him to log into GIS, so we can do what he wants.
Yeah,
No, but for this, yeah, an org chart would be great.
yeah.
Although it'd have to be obviously updated periodically.
Right.
Yeah, I think. But then you could just have it, not names
Even with
in there, but
titles.
just have
Yeah.
positions, yeah?
Just titles is fine.
Yeah, titles. That's fine.
Oh, okay, you're thinking just more of a, gotcha.
Yeah, just so it always stays within the
Yeah,
document.
yeah, then it doesn't need to be up
If you want to, somebody wants to add that to put that together and see where
I
that
don't know
one's
your
going.
city org chart. Isn't that already established somewhere?
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a city org chart, but it doesn't really incorporate commissions on that org chart, but maybe we should.
And
Yeah,
it
I
goes
can,
mayor to commissions to city staff.
I think Kelsey's got one of those, I think that's pretty good, so maybe we can just add to that.
gotta go.
Thank you.
So do we need to change this and then
Yeah, who would do
resubmit
that?
it? Is that
Uh,
what you're saying?
We'll get, between Teresa and myself, we'll get that into a format and change the relevant information there. So you'll
Okay.
basically then take out Medina and put in Dayton, yeah?
Perfect.
Okay, yeah.
Control F, find all Medina, change it for Dayton.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you guys were doing it and you didn't want us to
Yeah.
No,
resubmit
no,
one
we-
with the changes.
There'll be the staff support on this portion.
Okay.
We
Perfect,
just need you to come
thanks.
up with what you want included.
Right.
I'm offering you up here, Teresa, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
So when you say make sure we include what we want included, I mean, I think I liked it basically as it sits. Obviously, some small bits are not relevant, but how do you want that information before staff goes and works on that? Like, other than just tonight, I don't have any specific things to do it.
Well, I think that let's get it all into one document, and then if you want to make
Then we
changes,
can pass
then
that.
we'll edit it after
Cool.
that.
That makes sense.
Okay, so we're going to create the document.
Yep.
Staff is going to create the document, send it out, and we'll start beating it up from there.
Yeah.
Sounds like
So
a
this
plan.
would be great to put in it. There's expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So if you have the expectations in there.
Okay, great.
So for the actual commissions document, as of right now, since we don't know what we want to do with the recreation program, I think it just is fine how it is, other than wiping out the secretary.
Agreed. That's something staff can do. 'Cause it's a city
Yeah.
thing, and then council will approve the change.
Yeah, I think that all this stuff will be included in your charter, so that all of this information we're talking about here tonight
Cool.
is going to be in the charter document, and so that will go ahead in front of the council. We'll make those changes to the existing and see what that looks like. And then that'll be what goes to council to get approved.
Along with an operating budget?
I can't guarantee that just yet. Maybe next year.
I know.
So we're going to do that and have that for our next meeting in April?
Is it in April? I thought it was in May.
Would there not be an April meeting otherwise?
Well, we could talk in
we're gonna
April
talk
about the trails.
Yeah. No, we
So
can
we
do
can focus
That'd
on
be
that
good.
plan.
We have an April 4th meeting scheduled on
Yeah.
the city calendar, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was joking.
Oh, okay.
Nice try.
You got a busy April, I don't know.
I was just joking. No, we can pull that together for the next meeting. We think, Teresa, what do you think?
The whole packet?
Yeah, let's get this charter
No
together
pressure.
and the
will
stuff
do
for the
my
water
darndest.
trail.
Well,
Not the water trails, the
White
trails.
Park, yeah.
Why don't we say by May, and then in April we'll just look at the trails,
Okay.
kind of get an idea together of where we want to focus, see what we have, see if there's any changes the group wants to make, and then May we can go through the packet. Gives her
Perfect.
time.
Yep.
Or
I appreciate that.
city time.
So May will be another work session?
I think we could probably just do that as a regular
We would do a
meeting.
meeting, 'cause then we would,
Yeah, because then
we would
they'd approve it.
recommend it to the council.
Or
for the
changes.
Oh, got it, okay. So April and May are both regular meetings?
Yep.
Right. April will go over trails,
Perfect.
Maybe we
and
just
then May go over the updated maps.
Scribbles. Okay, Ruby.
And then June, we're halfway through the year.
Yep.
We'll have to look at parks and trails for June, July.
We should probably, Paul will probably have some concepts for the parks that he's designed, the Four Corners Park over there at Braeburn and 117th, and Elsie Stevens, I think Phase 3 is up there, and then the Iron Gardens park that we inherited.
That's right.
So he's
Can't have that happen
working on
again.
those. And we should have some updates on the finalisation of park improvements for 2022.
Fantastic.
So that's where we're at.
Good. Anything else we need to discuss?
I'd just like to say, and I'm probably stealing Matt's thunder here, but the council did approve the water trails document at the last meeting, so that's been approved. We have got a lot of interest from the Park Service. They have asked us to spearhead their, the National Park Service wants us to spearhead their relaunch of their section of the water trail, the Mississippi Water Trail, the 72 miles that they own. They're going to be doing some branding, and it's going to be based around the date and part of this. So all the branding on all of the section of the water trail will be based around what they put in date, and So we're going to do a presentation in April in St. Paul. There should be a lot of other agencies there, and there should be a lot of other communities around here. But it's kind of a big step, and they're very willing to champion this project and run with it on a national level. There are some other funding opportunities that we're pursuing for that, some earmarked grant, so that federal funds. There's some possibilities for some more state funding for that as well. So
So the city is putting on a presentation for that, or who's?
yeah, it'd be myself and the MSA.
Okay, will you let us know, so if we want to attend, we can?
Yeah, it's a
attend
limited
it?
audience down there, but there may be a Zoom opportunity for that. So
Okay.
Matt asked me if I can get you in there, Doug. So I'll see what there is to do. But they only have a facility that can take 26 people, I think, or something like that. So
Yeah, I
if there's a
realize a
Zoom
lot of places still-
opportunity,
If you
Yeah.
can send a Zoom link, you could send out. That'd be great.
if that's what they're doing, I will definitely send that
Yeah,
out to
a
you.
lot more
guys.
places are doing that, which is making things a lot easier.
Can watch over lunch.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's
Yeah,
starting
that's
to
awesome.
take off. And we've also been invited to do a presentation to, what's that group?
The one you were telling me about?
Yeah.
The Minnesota Recreation and Park Association.
That's in September, I
September,
think, in
yep.
Plymouth. So there's another opportunity there to get it out in front of people and look for some more grant funding opportunities.
Thanks.
So super excited about that.
So it's the National Park Service. You said
Yeah.
the Water Trail, they own 76 miles or something?
72.
And what's that stretch look like in minute? Where does
It's
it
from
start?
no, I haven't got it in front of me. But
No
if you
problem.
go to the National Park Service website, it's on there.
Okay.
And shows you the link
Cool.
there. But Dayton will be the spearhead for this whole relaunch of that.
Nice.
That is very exciting for us,
Again,
I
I
think.
knew I would do one day.
Again.
But hopefully it's for the right reasons this time.
That's awesome.
And that's all I wanted to
Yeah,
say.
thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
And
Sorry,
it
Marty
can,
kind of stole my update there. So that was we voted on that, and then I want to make sure you guys do the budget. So I brought that today too.
Thank you.
Yep. And then again, I'd love to have somebody come up and present, and have the entire committee there twice a year to kind of update council on where things are at from that perspective. And then, as some of you may know, Doug is also the head for the watershed for the city, and so I've asked that he come in as well to talk about the watershed. I think there's some good correlation between watershed and parks.
Sure.
Anything you need from me?
What else does the city have on their agenda that we should be informed about? I mean, I've read what Scott and Dennis have posted, but, I would like your perceptive opinion of what is going on.
And the council as a whole, or just
And
related
just
to parks?
all the issues that you guys are dealing with,
Yeah, so I think the moratorium's a big thing the city's working on right now. I'm trying to figure out if that's needed, if it's not needed, what that looks like, what it would encompass, and that's moving forward to an open forum. Zanzibar being paved is an item that's a hot topic. The water trail was a big deal, the CIP in general, and just updating the transportation plan, the land use amendment, all of that is a big deal. I think that's been something that has been an issue for at least almost a year now, and we're finally getting around to getting it done. So that's exciting to get that done and moving forward. Marty's working on water treatment stuff for us, so that's exciting. Slow but exciting.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
I would remind everyone that the videos, including this one, are now on YouTube, and you can subscribe for free on YouTube, and you'll
Yep.
get an update whenever a meeting's posted, and you can download it and listen to it in your car as a podcast if you want. Please don't watch it and drive, but you can listen to it as a podcast. So you can listen to what everyone actually says, and you can form your own opinions versus reading
Okay.
those that others post. That would
Okay,
be
well,
my
that's-
biggest piece of advice.
With the 2040 comp plan,
Yeah.
after the transportation, what are the next few things? you
The
guys
land
are
use is going to be a big piece of that too,
Right.
and the water and sewer
Thank you.
piece of it that goes in with that. So yeah, I'm hoping we can get them done a lot more in parallel versus in sequence, because I think the problem is if we get the transportation plan done, and then we look at it and we're like, oh, it'd be great to do this year. We already have, we'd be great to do something right here. We already have the transportation plan done. It can mess with it. So
Yep.
that was something I
Yeah.
pushed Landform on too, to be a little more inclusive. Is it's an overlaying piece and they're not just separate pieces.
Yeah.
Puzzles done. There's one big one puzzle being put
It'd
together.
be nice
so.
to look ahead instead of planning backwards, yes. I
Yeah,
understand
and
that.
I think the council's trying to move that way in general of like, how do we plan better in advance?
Mm-hmm.
And like Marty does, have redundancies for things in case something goes astray. And so, yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction.
So what is the official Dayton position and where is it published? I mean, you take a look at Facebook and Scott has got his opinions in there. But does Dennis have an opinion?
Dennis has
Email.
an email that you can subscribe to. He'll tell you what's going on. And I think other council members do. Do you have one? No, you don't. Well, those two.
Not
guys
yet,
have.
he doesn't.
Not yet.
No, there's a social media policy, so that should be at mine, which is why I don't think Dennis puts this on social media. I believe his is to answer your question, to stay on point, I guess, is that the official statement would come from the city directly on the city's Facebook site. But again, I would encourage you to listen, if nothing else, in the background while you're doing work, what's going on in the council meetings, because I think there's a lot of information that is shared that does not always get out. And so I think it's important to hear it and form your own opinions.
They're fun to attend too.
Pardon?
They're fun to attend too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sometimes there's very little seating. There was, but the fire department was there. It was good to see them there.
But you don't always have to come in disguise.
One time.
Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss?
The only item I had was, thank you for the email addresses that we had, and the directions to get them out, things like that. The only thing I didn't see follow was, if there is a data practices request, any device you have that email on, so if you put it on your phone, it could be taken by the police department, confiscated, and searched. I think that should have been brought out with that email address though.
Okay.
I will talk to Amy.
Yeah, I would talk to
I
them.
did send her a link, so.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's why I always have the two phones.
Exactly.
I mean, somebody can take this telephone, the
Yeah.
police department?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good.
If your
check
city
it.
email is on it.
If your
Yeah.
city's email is on it, correct.
Could they do that tonight, please?
Paul is here.
Get rid of the damn thing.
Yes?
Okay,
That's it.
is there anything else?
I'm good.
Let's adjourn before 7:30.
Sounds good.